Welcome to a raid that certainly has a fearsome, terrifying reputation. It's the Hall of Chains, and a bit of a brutal, punishing boss to start off with. And let's leap into it. So it's the Soulless Horror, a scary boss with a lot of very punishing mechanics that need to be executed correctly. Otherwise, you will simply never beat this boss. First up, character model limit. Make sure it is on medium, and let me explain why. There will be walls crossing the circular arena here that if you touch them, you will die instantaneously. You do not want to get hit by those walls, and the best part is, guys, that sometimes they will not render until the very last second if you have your character model limit on low or lowest. So make sure you have it on at least medium is the sweet spot. I think low is fine too, but I go for medium just to make sure. So this tank mechanic is unique in Guild Wars 2 raids in that it is very strict and very predefined. So there are these two marks at the start of the arena that your tanks press F on to get an action key, right? That means that they will get the action key that basically gets aggro of the boss. Why do you need two? Well, you need two because the boss will be periodically applying a stack of a debuff, causing your tanks to take a massively increased damage. So you have to swap your tanks occasionally. So you'll let your first tank get up to around 2 or 3 stacks, then the second tank will take over. You wait until the stacks on the first tank are gone, then the tank takes their stacks back. You can more or less use this on cooldown, but the real thing is that if you're tanking this encounter, have a lot of toughness, be minstrel, because actually it's really hard, even if you are quite tanky, so be aware of that. But as soon as your stacks drop, take the tank back. Face it away from the group, because this tank is a beast. She corrupts boons and does very, very heavy damage, and keep the boss away from the center of the arena, because the other very, very dangerous mechanic here on this encounter are the Tormented Dead. You can see these golems leaping. Oh, they're exploding onto the barrier, but they will be leaping and exploding onto you. So below 85% health, golems will start to spawn. They will run towards the person who is off tanking. So the person who has the action key who isn't currently tanked, they'll run towards it. That's not relevant, but it can be quite handy. Not super relevant, but it can be quite handy, rather. What you need to do is you need to have your druid or something else that has a knockback, but trust me, use druid, it's going to be way easier, to take Glyph of the Tides and a longbow with marksmanship so your arrows pierce and can go through the boss to actually go ahead and knock these golems through the group. You want to be very careful with CC here, because if you CC them while it's getting knocked, it will kind of interrupt the knockback and end up not getting the full push. So again, Glyph of the Tides and longbow for point-blank shot to move the golem through the group to the edge of the arena. The reason you do this is because the golem, when it dies, will lead a deadly pool that corrupts all your boons into conditions in one go and deals massive ticking damage. And obviously, area control is very, very important there, because if a bad wall appears, like a bad wall pattern appears, because there are various different things, the walls can come in different directions, and they can be 2 abreast, they can be like 1, then a gap, then 1, then a gap, then 1, right? Or they can be like all the entire middle area is dangerous, right? There's a lot of different patterns for walls here. If you have some bad AoEs from the golem, you are going to be in a very, very bad spot. It's one of the very few things in the game that is you're going to struggle if you want to try and out-heal it. Out-healing this is not really recommended whatsoever. It will destroy you. So get those pushes, don't CC the golems, and you should be okay. Like, outside of that, the fight is fairly straightforward. There are these worms here, but you can just kill them at the start of the fight. They do a lot of damage to the tanks, so just epidemic them to death here. And speaking of epidemic, you'll want at least one necromancer to epi onto the golem to kill it here, right? Otherwise, it's just going to walk back. You know, push it and it just walks back. Not good, right? You can also just immobilize it, right? You can have, like, Firebrand immobilize it, right? I can immobilize it with my dagger, all that kind of good stuff, and just don't let it come in the group. Make sure you get those pushes. Don't tank it near the middle, and you'll be good to go. The boss has a breakbar. Break the breakbar, otherwise you instantly fail. The breakbar will always be, starting at 66%. You'll see I do loads of conal AoEs, right, and then do a breakbar. She'll keep doing the conal attack, but it will be every other conal attack will actually be a breakbar. So you'll have breakbar conal attack, then it will be just regular conal attack, then breakbar, alternating like that. There are red scythes spinning about the place. Don't touch them. They'll corrupt all your boons. You're going to be very, very sad. the entire time. The platform shrinks a bit as you damage the boss, so don't be there. It will be orange. You'll get like a warning. There'll be an orange AoE warning there before the platform shrinks. If you are on the orange part when the platform disappears, you die because you fall off and die. Not very good at all. Revival is incredibly important here. Res your players immediately before walls get them, particularly tanks, because if you have only one tank, that tank will have to tank the fight for the rest of the duration without ever losing their stacks, making them die essentially even to the aura tick in one hit, so watch out for that there as well. It is doable. Don't give up. If one of your tanks dies, you can maybe just barely clutch it out, particularly if your tank plays well and is in like a really tanky gear and you have a heal necro or something like that. But in general, try to keep both of your tanks alive as best as you can. The only thing that really screws you is if your pusher dies. If that is dead, then yeah, then you better kill it real quick, otherwise you are in some serious trouble indeed. She also has another basic attack, like a basic conal attack as well. Like, there'll be 4 prongs for like a regular thing there. Don't get hit by that. And she has a donut attack. There'll be like a growing orange AoE, and then like a ring around that AoE will then be an AoE after that. So what you can do, just dodge the center, right? And then you don't have to worry about the outer ring. But in general, dodge that attack or block it. You can actually eat it. It doesn't do that much damage, but try and dodge the donut attack. Otherwise, you might go down, say, and then get hit by a wall and die. But there it is. Don't get hit, don't die, don't stand in front of the boss, let the tank do their thing, swap the aggro appropriately, kill the ads, push the ads, don't be a noob, and you'll be fine. Easy game, let's do Desmina. Here we go. Let's see how this one goes here. Let's check it out. If you have more than one Necromancer, you can also Epidemic him. And one thing as we start the fight here, if you have any kind of Mirages, Mirage is very good. This is a boss that attacks very quickly. This means that you can, very easily destroy the boss there with Confusion. That first attack that you guys saw there was the donut attack. You can see I simply dodged it, and it wasn't too much of a threat. This attack there, that red AoE, is actually more of a danger to the tank, really. It applies a lot of torment and poison, but it doesn't really do that much damage unless you're the tank. So you actually don't have to dodge that. Like, I wouldn't waste a dodge on it, to be honest, unless you're the tank. If you're the tank, use a block or an evade. But if you're a DPS, save your dodges for other things, because you really don't need to worry about it. Same thing with that whirlwind attack there, as you can see there. It's not really a threat. So here's the first golem. Let's see if we get the push. We do. I'm just going to immobilize the boss. That means the immob gets epied onto the main boss there. There's the AoE. Okay, Sith was AFK, got hit by that anyway. There's going to be a Breakbar here. One nice thing about the Breakbar is that it actually causes all existing walls to despawn. So here comes the Breakbar. Now, we want to be very careful with CC here, because you can, of course, kind of accidentally CC the golem, causing a lot of difficulty. In the background, you've been seeing the platform kind of shrinking the entire time. Oh, it's a big wall here, so we have to go all the way to the edge. What I like... Oh, nice, I got hit by a side. That's a bit of a noob move there, but I like that. That's what happens if you get hit by a side, guys. Very bad. In general, if you have a tank... if you have like a leader, you can have your leader essentially kind of like place a marker to indicate where you want to go. In general, your tanks want to move kind of away from where the red AoEs are to generate as much space to maneuver as you possibly can. So I like just placing the circle there and moving away from the current red AoEs to really give yourself maximum room here. Here we go. So we're going to get a push. We epi the immobilize there. Should be good enough. Not the best put. Yeah, we kind of didn't get the best connection in the push. But as you can see, the arena still has plenty of room there for us. So we're good to go here. The platform's going to shrink yet again. And we're good to go. I think we want to move to a round circle here. Yeah, the tank already knows it. And just keep spamming barrier. Like, having Necros here is amazing because it helps your tank survive. It's going to be CC. Ooh, I'm going to actually actively immobilize that there as well. Good. Didn't get my golem off because I was going for the immo, but that's fine. We'll have it for the next one anyway. And this is pretty much looking good. Watch out for the walls on the minimap here as well, guys. You can kind of see where the walls are. So you can see that there. Look at the minimap, guys. You can see that the walls are going to be coming in here. So if I stand here, we're going to be completely safe. We need to get one more push, then we're good to go. Can just manually immobilize it, but no, already got epidemic into oblivion right there. Okay, ouchie. Big ouchie. Goodness me. Spam the barrier. Okay, and that's going to be it. We actually do need to move it. We need to move over to circle here. But the boss will just die to conditions very shortly. Very clean there. I'd highly recommend stacking a whole bunch of Necros. Then this boss is very easy. Like that. Boom. It's been done. It's been farmed. Simple as that, my friends. As you can see, pushes were clean there-ish. Not perfect, but certainly more than good enough to get the job done. DPS was good. Necromancers were good. Mirages are good. Everyone was having a good time indeed. Oh yes, there is a little bit of RNG in this, so basically the wall spawns are actually random essentially, which can cause a little bit of instability, but Very, very straightforward. Very, very straightforward there. Other than that, it's not the most complicated fight in the universe, but it is punishing, and that's where it can be difficult. Until you master the pushing mechanic and your tanks are able to not die, you will always struggle there. You will always struggle there.